All right. We have audio. We have video.
Everything we need.
Right. There you are. Look at that. You got the bookshelf and everything. I love that.
Yeah, I try my best. If you don't have many skills, at least it has to look good.
Yep. That's good. It's good. Well, let me just introduce you for everyone listening. It's Paul Klement. Paul Klement.
Yeah.
And good friend of mine. We met at the fated London Real Academy, and it's just been endless laughter and smiles from there. But no, it's.
Yeah,
I'm glad I met a lot of people, and we're still in contact. So that's good. That's one good thing to get out of it. If anything.
absolutely. Yeah.
You know. So how you been?
Yes, quite good. Yes.
Yeah, you look
Still
good.
healthy and a lot of hair, but in the wrong places.
Yeah. So a lot's happened since we've talked. Are you still in the same place, or are you? How's work going and everything? You're a sales agent, right? That's your.
Yes, I work as a sales agent. I still live in Vienna,
Yeah. Okay.
the giant capital city of Austria with 1.8 million people.
Yeah.
And yes, I worked as a sales agent. We had this coronavirus.
I didn't hear about that. Wow. That's
Yeah,
wow.
it's a strange
So what do you
thing.
know?
Actually, we have our third lockdown this year,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, it's a bit difficult to work as a sales agent and to get to the customers. To have to do a lot with Zoom and all these marketing stuff with your email funneling and all this. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there's some variables that come in line to what you have to do. How is it? How has it changed from like physically? Were you physically meeting with people, and now it's just so there's no way to do that at all person to person. You have to do it online, set up an appointment, and all that kind of jazz. Or
Normally, I would meet with people. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm the live guy. I'm the stage guy.
right.
so so at the beginning it was very hard, but the hardest part was that all the companies they didn't realize they had to change their how business works. And uh, when I remember when I started sales 25 years ago, yeah, we just
Hmm.
picked up the phone and called the customers. Yeah, it's like a bit like in Wolf
Yep.
of Wall Street. Yeah, a bunch of people in a room, and just calling your customers. Yeah, without computers, we had these huge piles of paper and where the addresses and telephone numbers were written on,
Yeah.
and we just call them. So I learned it the hard way, but it nearly took a year now until the most companies realized, okay, we have to change, because you cannot send someone in a car to the customer. You cannot go there. You have to call him, and not everyone likes these Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so. People are more familiar with it, but they like it more when they can sit and drink their coffee and no one sees them, yeah, and can pour around in their nose or whatever stuff they have to do besides talking. And so slowly you can start and shift everything from personal meetings to good old telephone sales. Yeah.
I was actually I think it was last year I took a sales job selling advertising, um, and had like the slips of paper, business cards, and I would just go throughout the whole stack and call them, try to get hold of that owner, try to get hold of the owner,
Mm.
and owners don't want to get a hold of most of the
Yeah.
time. That's a tough one, and I did. It was a struggle, but I made a little bit of money, a little bit more, and then I'm like, yeah, at the end of the day, you have to balance all these customers, and it's like, is the stress worth the money? and it's like I don't know about that. So I really had to. Unfortunately, I had to let the job go, but I learned a lot about calling people and trying to get through the gatekeeper. And I had done sales previous to this. I sold newspaper subscriptions throughout New England and all that. But this was kind of a different beast. But it's a good experience. It's tough.
Yeah.
That's a lot of life is kind of finding what works for you, what doesn't really work for you, what doesn't really gel, how much can you compromise your personality, and like, okay, I can kind of become this, but if I don't have this other stuff going on, I don't know if it's going to work. Like, it was a small office. There was just like the owner of the publication and one other person, and they weren't my age range. It was kind of like, I don't know, this wasn't really gelling like I wanted it to. So, but I'm sure I mean, how is it? Are you working with people? Or are you by yourself, or how's that go?
I just working for other companies. It's not my product, so I sell stuff for other people,
Okay.
and yeah, it's funny. I also had to transform a lot there, and have a company I work now for. Is they do a lot of cleaning offices and
Okay.
manufacturing halls and all these kinds, and churches and so, and you still have to clean these facilities, and that's very interesting. Didn't do that before. And also I'm in a cigar club, and I met a guy who does who just founded his marketing company this year,
Okay.
and so I'm also a bit now in this advertise sales.
Mm,
Yeah, but it's easier. But it's not easy. It's interesting. People listen to you because everyone wants new ideas. Everyone wants at least to hear what you have to say. So it's easier to keep them on the phone for 15, 20, 30 minutes,
yeah.
because everyone is looking for new opportunities. As business goes down, it's incredible.
Huh.
When you drive to the city, you can also already now you can see shops that have closed and will never open again. So it's completely empty, and then the windows are already dirty. You didn't see that a lot the last years here.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
good. It's good, right?
yeah, it's the last crisis we had when the subprime market crashed in the US. Um, you didn't feel that much in Austria. We had one bank that collapsed, but we have so great politicians um, who saved us and the bank
Oh, that's
and
great.
their bank accounts. But you didn't. There was not a lot going on. 2008, 2009. You didn't really see it a lot. But now you can see it everywhere. A lot of people who losing their work, or just, yeah, it's a bit depressing if you
Yeah.
look at that way. Yeah, and the big end is just coming.
Well,
Yeah,
they keep, all these different waves and everything. And when is the end in sight? I think the big thing is just the unknowns and the unknown unknowns, you know.
yeah,
And I've been thankful that work has been pretty steady for the most part. I mean, I was talking to Daniel about how bad 2009 was for me in 2010 financially, and
mm,
I felt I was the guy that got screwed with all the other people that, and just wasn't getting paid for a few months. I couldn't pay rent, everything, couldn't pay credit cards. I had to put stuff on credit cards. It sucked. So that hasn't happened. I've been able to kind of, save some money, put some stuff in some index funds, pay off a credit card, slowly pay off London Real. I say, oh, so slowly, But I'd say overall, personally, it hasn't been too bad, and I'm mostly like, because I'm a lot like Bilbo Baggins. I can stay in and do my thing a lot. Not to say, hey, it's good to go out once in a while, even if it's just to a local bar or whatever, something stupid, just get a bite to eat at a decent restaurant. That it does kind of come into play once in a while. It is nice to go out and to do that, but Have you, like you said, you're in the third tier lockdown over there?
Yes, it's the third lockdown
Yeah.
since Christmas.
So all the restaurants are closed, or can't go in them, or what?
Yeah, nearly everything is closed. Restaurants are closed, and everything that has to do with sports, every gym is closed. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yes, the the Tim Taylor markets where you can buy your tools are closed. That
Mm,
hit me hard. So the only thing you can still buy your food and groceries. So
yeah.
those stores have still open, and all the shops where you can buy food for your pets have still open,
Yeah.
and you can buy your newspapers and tobacco, but the rest is completely shut down now since the 26th until the 18th of January. So about 3 weeks again. And yeah,
Yeah, that's what the governor over here in Michigan said. She said, "Oh, it's going to be 3 weeks, and then another couple weeks." But I think they're starting to pull back a little bit on some of the stuff. Like, I think like movie theaters have opened up again. So, no, thank God for that. But not that the movies are that great these days. You know, um,
it's a very hard time for movies in Austria
gosh,
because we they were already closed in March and April.
hmm
And in the summer, no one went to the cinemas because there were no films to watch, no blockbusters, because no one dared to release something. Um,
yeah,
because of the international market, you cannot release a film in Austria and not in the US, for example. James Bond, for
right,
example. Yeah, you
yeah,
can't do that. And so you had nothing to watch, literally. And then we had the second lockdown. Now it's the third. So they're really having a hard time, but
yeah.
I think most of them will go out of business because also the habits of the people will change. I know a guy who has a company who installs all these internet connections.
hmm
And when the first lockdown was, a lot of guys were working from home, doing home office, and they all needed a real quick internet connection. And these guys worked up to 15, 18 hours a day to get it all fixed, drove around the whole city and the whole country. It's really ridiculous until now. And so people watch a lot of Netflix and YouTube, YouPorn, whatever.
Right.
So I don't know if they will go to the cinemas anymore. So
Well, it might be looked at as kind of a vintage thing a little bit, but yeah, it's tough to say because I think Hollywood wasn't doing they weren't putting out movies that were like you had the big blockbuster, the big Marvel movie, but I think there's a lot of things that they just weren't making. They weren't putting storytelling first. I think they were kind of putting like, well, no one should be people are going to be too offended if we have this kind of thing. Everything was very PG. Like even the rated R movies didn't have
mm,
that much edge to them, except maybe a horror movie here and there. But I don't know. I don't know. There's not a lot of Scorsese's. There's news for Scorsese's or um, other the kinds of directors that are really breaking out. There's a few, but not as many as I think there used to be. You know, but yeah, I wanted to see Bond, but man, that's crazy. They went to Apple and they're like, okay, can you give us this much? And they're like, no, go to hell. We're not giving you that much money, to show your movie. And so it's like now they're just postponed even more, even further back than Wonder Woman was. So it's like, what is going to happen with that one? They're going to have to release it somehow, but they're going to lose. They're going to lose money, and who knows how good of a Bond movie it really is. It's all up in the air. You know, I hope it's good. I hope it's better than the last one. But yeah, man, it's crazy here. And
yes, but you can look a lot of films for free on Amazon.
hmm I think if anything, there's too much. There's kind of too many shows and movies to watch. Like I feel just totally overwhelmed. Like if I got HBO Max, I'd be like, well, I have to watch a certain amount of movies this week to make it work, to make it make sense that I'm,
Mhm.
you know, paying this, you know, and yeah, yeah, it's just changed so much. I mean, I still love going to see movies. I'll always love to go see, like I went to go see Wonder Woman in an IMAX because I'm like, I just want to go see a movie. I don't care how really good it is. I just want to get out and check it out. And it was a good time. Very flawed movie, but I think overall I enjoyed myself. I thought it was still pretty fun. But yeah, man, probably might be a vintage thing. It's just too many things to watch. And but I'll try to support as much as I can. If the theaters are open, the movie's decent. Um, I remember like a few months ago when the lockdowns were real bad, and there's a theater up north which is kind of like a more rustic small town, but a lot of country. Um, there's a small theater, and I went to go see Unhinged. I'm like, man, of all the movies to see, Unhinged is a perfect one. Sky Snaps and Road Rage. That's about how everyone's feeling right now. I'm like, if this was opened in every theater, everyone wanted to go see this, I don't know. You'd probably have a riot here and there. But you know, it was fun. One person who was running the whole theater. One, you know, the concessions. And we had to knock, and we're waiting, and we waited 10 more minutes past the movie time, and he goes, "Oh, the door wasn't open," and they're like, "No, it was locked. It's open to me. Come on in." And but it was yeah, it was different, but it was fun. I'm glad I wanted to go see it. And there's only a few people in the theater, so I wasn't that concerned about catching anything. Although I suppose it's possible, but I felt okay. I felt okay with it. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
the only good thing is we had, I don't know the exact name, a movie theater where you can go by car. And we only had one, and they shut it down because, you know, I don't know, maybe they want to build something there, a shopping center or so, and it was out of business for years now. And
yeah.
in the first lockdown, everyone said, okay, let's reopen that thing. And during the summertime, it was completely full every
Oh
evening, you
wow.
know.
Yeah, that's cool. I love
Yeah.
drive-ins.
The
Yeah.
screen was damaged, but no one, yeah, was no problem. And the funniest thing is, a few kilometers away, you have the airport. And in the evening, it was really funny because the landing lights of the planes, they really hit the screen every 5 minutes or 2 minutes or
Um,
so, because they were already so low.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But you know, that's the thing. They could make more drive-ins. You know, they could do that. Although I'm still not sure if they're going to make enough money to, you know, support the big movies that way because you're reliant on people and cars take up so much space. So they might have to lower the budget of the movies. Yeah, there's just so many. I think, and this is what I talk about. I think the key is you just, if you're into films and making movies, just keep doing it. Just keep making what you want to make. Put it out there, have it get seen somehow, whether that's an online festival or just, you know, you get a projector, you go somewhere and you can show it somewhere in the back of a building. Hey, that's cool, you know, and because if you just let outside circumstances control, oh, I better not do that, then it's like, well, you never know. Things change all the time. Just keep producing, keep making
Yeah.
something that you're passionate about. You know, no matter what that is.
And maybe it's also a market correction because it's too expensive nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really too expensive. If you look at a film, it's hundreds of millions of dollars they need to put out one film.
keeps
And
ballooning. Yeah, it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
yeah, and
Like,
then I don't know how the situation is in America, but here in Austria and Germany, yeah, it's nearly the same language. There are a lot of guys that just take their video camera and make a film, or even if they have a better camera or setting, you have a lot of good films out there, and they are dirty cheap. They're really cheap.
yeah,
They don't even need to hit it to the cinemas. They sell it to the TV companies, yeah, or Amazon. and they are happy. They are producing their artwork or their
Yeah.
films, how they call it ever, and people can watch it, and you have new stars. Yeah. And they don't earn, I don't know, 50 or 80 or 100 million like Johnny Depp or so, but they are
Mhm.
happy. They can make a living, and the crew can
Yeah.
make a living, and maybe that will change.
Hmm. I think they'll continue to make a good amount of money, but not quite what they used to. Not like crazy amounts of millions and millions, you know. But yeah, that's you hit it on the head there. You know, I think if you make a good enough movie, a good story, I think people will talk about it, and that word of mouth, you know, will get around, and then people, hey, that was great, or that was funny, that wasn't so good, but this, I like this actor in this scene, and that'll inspire you to keep going and keep, and then hopefully, you know, someone will pay you to do it, you know. So, that's what I'm saying. I don't see this as being like the end of like entertainment film media, but it's definitely a big change, a big evolution, I guess. And I think theaters could be around, but it'll just be more vintage, like the hardcore film nuts that want to see it on the big screen, they'll go see it, you know. So it'll still, like the drive-in movie theaters, they'll still be around.
It's the same thing you have in sports.
Hmm.
So in Europe, you have soccer is very common here, and it's a multi-billion-dollar business. Uh, but the stadiums are empty. You don't sell one ticket. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, people watch it at home, the television, but it's not the same. Yeah, it makes a
it
difference.
isn't. It
If you
isn't.
sell 50, 60, 80,000 tickets, and if you sell, I don't know, uh, uh, 50 trucks of soda and
Hmm.
popcorn and whatever, yeah, and so all these businesses are going down, and it's really difficult for some companies to survive now. And they
Yeah.
don't sell their stuff, and they can't pay the players. The quality
Hmm.
goes down, and I think also there will be a change here. It's too high, you know. If you look at these top players, what they have to pay them,
Yeah.
what they have to pay the player, and what they have to play to let them go to another. It's ridiculous, man. Hundreds of millions, yeah.
I will say though, like going to a baseball game as opposed to like watching it on TV. I like going to the game if I can, because it's a whole your senses are being bombarded with, you know, visually, and the smell of the ballpark. People are selling stuff. It's the whole aesthetic of that, which makes it unique. And when they hit a ball, like you can hear it echo throughout the park, and it's like it's neat. There is something to that that's kind of magical, you know. Or even a basketball game, like when they're throwing. I was like watching the Pistons versus the Cavaliers, and the Pistons made the shot by 1 point at the very end, and everyone goes wild. And it was just a regular game, but I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. And I'm sure it definitely goes for any soccer game, football game. You know, there is something that you miss, like because when it's on the TV, you're just kind of like, you know, you're looking at your watch, like, okay, all right, let me just flip to something else. I'll come back to this. Whereas you go there, you're a little bit more focused on where you're at, and there's really not much else to look at besides maybe a hot girl over there, and you know who's with Bubba.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
you're you're less you're less distracted when you're in the football stadium.
yeah, yeah.
Your wife is not there, your kids are not there, and your dog is not there.
Yeah, exactly.
And when the phone rings, you
Exactly.
can't hear it. So
Yeah, it's that focus, that focus. But maybe, you know, it'll be a similar thing. It'll be kind of a vintage thing. I don't know. I don't know. So many unknowns right now. But yeah. Do you have? Well, I'll try to steer it away from everything that's going on. So, yeah, I don't want it to be so bug focused if I can help it. You were talking to me like, or no, you were doing this show called. It was like a take on Hamlet. This was like a couple years ago or last year.
yeah, the last one was, I think, 1.5 years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was, I'm trying to remember, was that kind of like it was obviously it was a comical take on it, or was it more serious? I'm trying to remember now. I thought it.
No, what? No, no, no. It was pure comedy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I originally it started out a few years ago when my mother turned 70,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what what to 70. I have to make a big gift, a great present, and I had no idea. And a friend of mine told me, okay, just make a comedy show.
Yeah.
And I thought it's a nice idea, and I didn't want
Hmm.
to yeah. I needed an idea, and I found this. It was in end of October, and we all had this Halloween stuff around, and I had this skull, this plastic skull, and I thought,
Right.
oh, maybe Hamlet would be good. I had no clue, and I read the book. It's a real, it's a small book. I have it here somewhere. And it took me really days. This.
Yeah.
It's written in this old language, and but I slept very well these days also, and yeah, and then I thought, okay, I can mix it up with some things from my life in
Hmm.
workplace. So yeah, all these people who are taking part in this play in the theater. I had no idea how to tell people, okay, there is one guard, second guard, third guard, and all the people, and the king. So I made a big board and just put socks there.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Say,
Right.
okay, that's guard number
Right.
one. We just need them at the beginning so we can throw it away and so on. And when I had a condom filled with red wine.
No. Did
It
you?
was it was in the sock of the king, and when I killed him, I took my knife, and the blade broke. And it was probably the best condom in the world. It was bulletproof, maybe a James Bond quality or so. And I
Blade
was there
frog.
on the stage stabbing this damn sock condom for, I think, 1 minute. And everybody, oh, is he going nuts or what's going on here? And yeah, so at the end, the condom gave up and all the red wine was dripping down. And I said, yeah, look here, the king is dead. Yeah, it was quite funny.
It's like it's a one man. I mean, I don't hear about that a lot. One man show doing Hamlet in a comedic kind of way. I thought that was just so unique. Like this is nobody I know is doing this. So I think that's fun. Do you think you're going to do something like that again, or is that just a one time deal? It's just because my friend inspired me to do it. You know.
Yeah, I did it a few times because people really ask me, and they say, we want to see
Mm.
Hamlet again. And I said, we've already seen it 3 or 4 times. We need a new idea. And
Yeah.
yes, you can make a new idea, but please do it again. And so it developed in something strange, and I added even more things from my life and jokes and so. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. If you start out, you always find funny stuff you can mix up, and the good thing is no one in the audience ever knew exactly what was going on, so
Well, that's good. You don't want them to think too much.
yeah,
Like, is
no.
this the right motivation for this scene? I don't know, but
And what I discovered in all these it's always very small theater with 50 60 people, and uh, and it's the mindset, people, they're just going there and want to have funny time, and so their mindset is programmed for fun.
right.
So it's not
Yeah,
so difficult. Yeah. So they
that's a great
expect it,
point.
and yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I also had the problem. The first time on stage, I had a small watch from IKEA, and it stopped, and I didn't realize it. And I think, oh my, I'm really far. I tried at home, and you know,
Mhm.
figured out, okay, that's approximately 54 to 50 minutes, then make a break and another 40 to 50 minutes. And I thought, oh man, I have so much stuff to tell, but I already told so much. And it's 7:30. And then I talked and talked and talked, and people were laughing, and my mouth was completely dry. And I looked at the watch, and it's 7:30. And I kept on talking and looked at the watch, and after 5 or 6 times 7:30, I realized, okay, something wrong with the watch. And I took the watch and said, okay, I'm sorry. I already see all the people who smoke. They were sitting there. Okay, we need a break, man.
Wow.
Look here, my watch stopped, and everyone was laughing. They thought it was a joke, but it was real.
Wow. That's crazy. Like of all the times for your watch to stop during a performance like that,
Yeah,
but it worked. You were able to make it.
it worked. Yes.
You know.
So part one was not 40 to 50 minutes. It was 1.5 hours. But it's okay. I'm not a pro.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good experience, though.
Yeah.
It taught you how to improvise a lot more, even past the point where you think you could have. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Um, that's similar to like when I started going to a poetry night when I was in California. He's a buddy of mine I worked with. He's like, you should do your Schwarzenegger, or your Jean-Claude, and just do it on poetry night. I go, yeah, because I'm not like a poetry kind of guy, but I'll do it. It's a small coffee house, and it was a great way to kind of build my confidence in that, to where you have just a few people. Are they paying attention? Kind of not. And you just go up there and just practice in front of a mic. And I had like one other joke, because I wasn't into writing jokes, but I'm like started to try to do it. And from there, I'm like, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. And then I was able to like, okay, I'll put together some kind of an act. And then when I went to Los Angeles, I ended up doing it at Ha-Ha's, and I went to the Comedy Store, which I still can't believe I was able to get into the Comedy Store. That's pretty amazing. And I got a few laughs, nothing like they're dying or anything, but I was happy to get a few chuckles, a few laughs, and all that. And again, it builds momentum. It's like a snowball. It's like you keep. It's funny just how something can inspire you. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. You say it, I'll do it, and then I'll see if I can keep it going. And you never know. You never know what that spark's going to be. So that's great. That's great. Um, yeah. So, how's your routine these days? Are you still getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning?
Sure.
I had to think about that. Why not?
Yeah, it's really hard now. And it was really hard in the first lockdown because, school was closed, and my wife lost her job, and so no one had to leave in the morning except the dog. He wanted out. So in the beginning it was hard. Now I try to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then drink my coffee and
Yeah.
enjoy the silence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
but
something to that.
yeah, it's there's so much people around here, and because you are allowed to go out to work and buy your groceries, and you are also allowed to go out with your dog and or just walk in the fresh air. So I have never seen so much people just walking around.
Yeah.
I feel they never stop. If you go up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you already see people with dogs, without dogs, with children, and there are so many crazy people on bikes. These e-bikes, and they're driving real fast through the night. I don't know. Maybe they watch too much Knight Rider or so.
Well, forget that. How about
Yeah.
in the grocery stores? Do you guys have the people in the carts in the grocery stores like we do? They're like
No, no,
running people over, and these
no.
big people on their carts.
We
Yeah.
do that on the streets.
Yeah. On the street. Yeah. Where it makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my routine. Also, I get up at 5, drink my coffee, and then read a book, and I do my workout
Yeah.
4 times a week, and try to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your workout consist of?
Actually, I do a very American workout, the Murph, if you know that. It's really crazy. You run 1 mile, and
Okay.
then you do 100 pull-ups and 200 push-ups and 300 squats, and then at the end again you run 1 mile.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Are you serious? I thought you were gonna be.
yeah. It's
I'm
it's
pounding
named.
beers.
Yeah. So I'm not. I still have to train a lot to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, like 100 pull-ups. Like I struggle. I mean, if I don't do pull-ups for a while, it's like I
Yeah.
get to start over again. It's terrible, you know.
Yeah, actually I saw it on YouTube in the first lockdown, and it's named after a American guy. I think he was a sniper in Afghanistan, and he got killed there, and it was his favorite workout,
Yeah.
and he named it body armor. And you also have to wear a body armor
Oh
with
wow.
I don't know 20 pounds or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have I have slimmed it down to 12 pounds, and I think I die every day when I try it.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. That's
But
great. That's great.
yeah, so I do the 1 mile at the beginning, and I only do 20 or 25 push. I split it down, 20 or 25
Yeah.
pull-ups, and my 50 or 60 push-ups, and on good days, so 80 to 100 squats, and then again 1 mile, and it takes me
Yeah.
about 45 minutes, you know. And the real tough guys in the US Army, they need just 40 minutes for the complete
Hmm.
program. But I'm old and bold, so I have a little excuse. And you don't have to think. It's not very complicated. You just go and run your 1 mile, and then you do your pull-ups and so on.
Yeah.
And it's great. Fresh air.
Is there a pull-up bar like in a park or something that you do it?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
I
good.
have a small park in front of my house, and when I do my workout at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark and you don't see a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
are you exhausted at the end? Are you just done, wiped out? Or are you just kind of like, well,
I'm literally dead. So I can go back to sleep.
yeah,
Perfect workout for every quarantine you need, every lockdown.
I can go back to sleep. That's the
Yeah,
reason I
yeah.
did this.
45 or 50 minutes workout and the day is gone.
Wow, man. No, I admire you for doing that. That's great. That's the way it's supposed to be. You can get up early and do the workout, get it in. That's, you know, I haven't been like that since really the army. I'll do an early afternoon workout, maybe. But I'm such a night owl. It's like, man, like you remember I used to tell you like, yeah, I go to bed like maybe 2 o'clock. It's like you think maybe, well, maybe he'll start going better. No, this whole thing, it's been bad. Like it's been like 4 o'clock. Like it's like oh, I don't even want to go that far, but it's something. I don't know if it's the restlessness, it's being on the lazy boy, the YouTube and all that. I think it's a combo of all that and that constant stimulus of like it's like, man, it got worse. It got worse. But I'm still working out, whether that's late night or during the day. So that's good. That's consistent. But yeah, man, it's like I got to do something. I got to come up with a routine that gets me. All right, start shutting everything down at a certain, time of night. But you've got better. I've gotten worse. So hey, there's a trade there.
There are ups and downs. There are ups and
Yeah,
downs. I'm not a
yeah.
machine. I'm not a machine. I could have done a lot more, but also less. So yeah, it's a crazy time. You have no real goal. It's difficult to plan something, with your
Hmm.
job or vacation or yeah.
You know what it is? I was thinking it used to be like, well, it's like I have so many things to do that when I get home, and I do. Thank God, I still have my writing, my drawing, and all that. But the thing is that you still want that fun kind of quasi social life. So when you get home from work, it's like, great, now I have to make this work for me. Like, what is this supposed to be now? Whereas you go to work, it's fair. You have to do A, B, and C, and as long as you do those things, you're doing something. You're accomplishing, and you're getting paid. But you get home, it's like, how do I make this? I can't really go out and do anything. So how can I structure this to where I'm having some kind of fun or some kind of life? So that is kind of a different thing, you know. Uh, so yeah, I think people are trying to deal with that. I would get together with my friends, like once or twice a month. We get together and play uh, Dungeons and Dragons and all that, right? But now no one can meet, and so we're doing everything on Zoom or Roll20, which is basically Zoom for role playing, and we're playing like twice a month. And I think I think it's good for everybody because it keeps everybody social and laughing and talking. And I'm like, there was a point where it's like, should we keep doing this, or you guys? I'll do it if it's gonna bring your spirits up. And they're like, yeah, yeah. So they're always looking forward to the next session. So I'm like, okay, I'll keep doing it. So that's good. It's you got to stay chipper, because otherwise you can just get down in the dumps too easy. Got to keep moving, keep doing things that you're passionate about, because yeah, we're all in this together, locked down. You know.
Yeah, it's hard. I realized, so I had a schedule and it was too big, too much to do. Yeah, I had the idea of reading 2 books in a week,
Right. Yeah.
and then okay, one book in a week is also good. And I know a few weeks later, it's a really thick books. It's not possible to read it in 1 week, so maybe 2 weeks.
War and Peace, or what are you doing? Yeah.
And yes, then I piled it up in the living room, and I think they came alive, because every day in the morning when I go down and I turn on the light, books are just lying there in their pile, and they look at me and say, hey, fucking loser. We have the answer to all of your questions.
If you just stop
But
being
we don't.
lazy and get through
Yeah,
it.
we don't tell on which page the answers are, so you have to read the whole damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I read Kindle, my Kindle now, because I can't store any more books. I love buying books, used books, new books, but you only have so much room. And otherwise, you got to get rid of your old books, and ah, it's hard to let go of the old books. It's like, I might reread that someday, or it is one of those things where it's like, I love reading, but it's just you don't have the space. Or I'll do an audiobook. Audibles will do that for a while, and that's great. That's how I pretty much do it. But once in a while, they're like going to the show or going to the baseball uh, game. If you have a book in your hands, there's a certain kind of aesthetic to that, the feel, how it's designed, the smell of the book, and it all kind of goes into that too. So yeah, what do you like to read? What's your favorite? Do you have a genre, or just anything, self-help or anything like that?
Most is business related,
Okay.
sales, and yeah, a lot of sales book, and well, that's
Do
the
you
majority.
do you like reading the sales books, or you just have to do it kind of? I would assume you do.
I like, yeah. Sometimes you have a new idea or things you have already forgotten, and it keeps you in this state of mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure. I was
So,
reading a book by Zig Ziglar, something, The Art of the Close, or something like that.
yeah.
And they are interesting books that. Um, but yeah, I'm more into like fiction. I love a good Stephen King novel, fantasy, pulp fantasy. But then I like a lot of self-help kind of stuff. I'm looking at my books right now. Yeah, like Irish folk tales, like H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But if they're not, like, if it's a good biography or an autobiography, somebody I like, I'll read that too. You know, there's that guy. Used to be the Marine. He's got a shaved head. I can't think of his name right now. He's a big hardcore workout guy. He'll do an Instagram video where he's like running and tell you to, how we're our own worst enemies. But he has a book and he tells you about, like, kind of what you're doing. You get up early in the morning, you work out, and you kill that voice inside your head, and you've already won the day. And I think it's called "You Can't Hurt Me" or something like that. Those books are great. I like those kind of self-help books. Um, but it's all good. You know, I've read Hamlet before. I did all in college and all that, Shakespeare and all that. So challenging. It's good to challenge yourself. Different kinds of literature. So yeah. So what else have you been doing? We covered workouts. We covered the movies, reading. Anything else? Anything else that you do to keep yourself occupied? You're married. You have a dog.
Yes, I have a son, and he turned 13 years now in December, and so I'm trying to be the good father and a person he looks at now. And when I get up early, he recognizes it,
Mm-hmm.
changes him. And when he's seeing his father reading a book, he picks up a book, and so
Yeah.
so I try to, yeah, motivate him
Mm-hmm.
on this passive way. Yeah, it's not
Well, the
so easy.
important thing is that he remembered his life before everything got crazy.
Yeah, and children are copying everything.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that in the summer because he had a fight with one of his friends, and in his room, and I hear it, and my wife said, "Oh, I don't know if it's you talking or him. You're using the same words."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that until this day. So have to watch my words now better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think about it.
Yeah, it's not so different from before this disaster. Always have to
Mm.
think of new ideas and try to meet new people, and yeah, do it on the electronic way now. No. I wanted to ditch Facebook actually because you know didn't like it anymore, and but it's nearly impossible now. If, no people meet there.
Oh, on Facebook?
Yeah, it's a tool for old people like me here to get connected. You have a lot of these groups and business groups and cigar groups and father groups, and so
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a good thing to see other people, to hear other things. The people out there who are doing YouTube videos on different things, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I think on Facebook you can kind of become insular, like it's just your friends, and you're not. How many new people are you meeting? It's just kind of your same friends. Nothing wrong with that, but are you meeting anybody new through Facebook? No, I don't know. You know, as far as
yeah,
online goes.
I met a lot of people in the last weeks
Hmm.
from Facebook. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I'm also deleting the old ones.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, how many people interact with you, like either whether they like something or they comment on something, and you can kind of tell the ones that they don't ever comment, they don't ever like anything. It's like, well, what are we doing here then? Even if you like or comment on them, it's like, why are we even friends if you don't even there's nothing going on here, you know. So that's kind of weird. So yeah, I get that. One of the things I want to talk to you about is this year Sean Connery passed, and I had a part one discussion about it on here, but part two, I guess, would be talking to you about it and how much of a well, I mean, how much of a bummer that is because even though he was retired for for a long time, it's weird. You still feel like, wow, it was just yesterday he was making his last movie. Whether that was that great of a movie, it was still him in the movie. But I think culturally, how much that meant to uh, moviegoers, Bond fans, and uh, people growing up with that Connery. Like, there's a big father, to me, a big father and son connection with the Connery Bond that a lot of actors probably there, there's never been that kind of connection, generational connection. I mean, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, he's the one and only James Bond.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked Roger Moore. He was the
yeah.
funnier guy. He was way too old.
Hmm.
It's like the Liam Neeson movies now.
Oh
I
yeah.
think he's 70 and doing all this. I watched the interview a few weeks ago where I said, now I have all these films, and they all are 30 or 40 years too late for me. I'm an old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the funny thing is, I watched all these old James Bonds with my son,
Mm-hmm. Cool.
and and he's this very new generation. Everything has to be perfect, and then all the explosions have to fit exactly, and all the special effects. They love it all, watching these Avengers movies. And if I show him a film I like, yeah, he always says, oh my god, it's so bad.
Oh yeah.
The colors are bad and the voices are bad, and no, I don't want to watch it. Yes.
Yeah.
And but that was not an issue with the Connery Bonds. It was completely clear. Okay, 60s and old cars and old people and
Kidding.
old planes, but it was in a different world. It's so it was again the mindset for him. Yeah, he knew he would watch a cool film. He was allowed to stay up late,
Yeah.
and and he liked it. And I said, yes, it's really cool. Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing. Like, which one
yeah.
did you watch? The first one, very first one, or
We watched. I don't have the English names here.
Doctor No?
Uh, yeah, we watched Doctor No,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the first one. Goldfinger.
Yeah, I think Goldfinger is the best for
Yeah,
me.
it's quite cool. So he really liked it, and so I was thinking, okay, I talked to other people, and they said, oh, my children also liked it. Yeah. He also
Yeah.
likes Daniel Craig, the newer ones, and we watched GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 weeks ago, because this radio telescope collapsed, and it was in GoldenEye.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. So, are you watching them all in sequence now? You taking them through the whole saga, the whole Bond saga in order?
I hope Jeff Bezos is not listening or watching. I always choose the Bond with only costs €1 or nothing, and it
Oh,
changes.
okay.
It changes every week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to look GoldenEye in summer actually, and it costed, I think, 12 or 13
Mm-hmm.
just to rent it on Amazon. Um,
Yeah.
and we watched it, like I said, 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I think it was 80 cents or so.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. That's okay. That's
So
okay. But
so
yeah,
that's my technique to introduce him to various different bonds.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's just something to it. My dad. I didn't have a connection with my dad till much later in life, and I guess my stepfather kind of introduced me to watching Bond just willy nilly. Just, oh yeah, this guy Connery's the first one, and then you know, watching them on TV on HBO back then, and like, and then the first movie I saw in the theater of Bond was uh, the last Roger Moore one, the Living Daylights, and I was like, I don't know, maybe like 10 years old, maybe a little bit younger. And I remember just being like, this is the coolest thing ever, even though it's not probably not the best Bond movie at all. But just the whole idea of him being on the bridge and Christopher Walken with the Zorin microchip. It's and it was just so bigger than life. Like I was just there's something I don't know what it is. It's like that's awesome. Like I want to go see these all the time in the theater, and pretty much I always made an effort to go see a Bond movie, and Pierce Brosnan and all that. I don't know that they got the formula down. You know it's going to be what's the opening going to be? You know what's the setup? What's going to be the opening song? How are they going to do the animation in it? And there's all these little things that you look forward to seeing. And but going back to Connery, is that my dad had memories of like, oh, remember we went to go see him. I went to go see him again and again, and I tried to be cool like Connery and you talk like him and smoke a cigarette like him, and it's funny because it's like you think of your dad. I don't know how your relationship was with your dad, but it's like, oh, you know, he never had inspiration. He was just that's how he is, and but it's like he was just like, you know, I was always inspired like by Schwarzenegger or Seagal or Jean-Claude growing up, Bruce Lee. But you know, it's just that connection is just something that you don't see in a lot of other different movies. And you know, Connery, especially Connery throughout the years, he has very a masculine presence, a very big leadership kind of personality to him. You don't have those many actors that can do that these days. Not many, you know. And so like him leaving, it's like, well, geez, that's how many more guys like that, you know?
He is with all the Bond films, he is the only one who survived. And you know, for in my opinion, it's a certain kind of manly man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nowadays you have to look like The Rock, you know, packed with muscles,
Right.
shaved and you know, all these explosions and so. But if you watch, you had Steve McQueen, you had the early movies
Mm-hmm.
with Kirk Douglas, and all this. There were a lot of guys, yeah, all this similar, nearly athletic physique, you know, no real six pack, not
Sure.
fat, you know. And it for me, it's also it's not so hard to look like to have the same body shape like those guys. You know, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to look like The Rock, you have to, I don't know, only go to the fitness center, to the gym, yeah, 6 hours a day every day for the next 8 years or so.
And you got to eat a lot of
Yeah,
eating.
yeah. And then you look like The Rock, and it's easier to be this James Bond, Steve McQueen type, because okay, eat less and do your workout, and you will be in good shape, and then get a good suit and good shoes, and yeah, learn how to talk like a gentleman, and so maybe this is a role model for future children. It's easier to achieve.
You know what it is?
It's more reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
realistic.
it's easier. It's more reality. All of the Bond guys.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Timothy Dalton, he was a skinny guy, yeah, with this excellent British manners, and so, you know, and I think maybe this will return into in the cinema world. You know, heroes who who slim down, normal people, yeah,
Yeah.
with normal cars. Yeah, I remember when this movie, I think it was with Pierce Brosnan, where he had this fancy BMW with the remote control. You can buy these cars now for $2,000 now at the junkyard. They're already outdated and old. But this Aston Martin was
Yeah.
DB7 or so, the first one. Yeah, yeah, it's a classic. You need millions to buy this car, you know.
Neat. It is, yeah. It's interesting to look at that as time goes on. Like, oh, that's not that big of a deal to have that car, but back then it was, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but you touch on an interesting aspect, like, because I think what it is with McQueen and all those guys, they were extremely proficient at something that they were good at, that was kind of physical and mental. Like McQueen seemed he was good at, he's like driving, stunt driving, stunts a bit. He seemed confident in whatever that he was doing. I could say Paul Newman, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a kind of confidence, and you know that he can do something very good in a particular way, and there's a certain strength that comes from that, as opposed to just raw physical muscle. You know, Charles Bronson. It's just, there's something stoic and something, he's relaxed in himself and his abilities. That's one of the great things about martial arts, is that they train you to kind of be, to relax within yourself, because you know most people aren't trained to come up and start doing, you know, back and forth fighting with you.
Yeah.
You know, if you train at that day in every week, you're going to get good, and you're going to be aware of everything that's going on. And if someone tries to come at you, and you can relax for the most part in that, even though there's always a guy that can be better trained. If there's an absolute killer, he can still beat your ass. But most of the time, I'd be willing to bet the people that would probably want to start something with you aren't going to be people that are trained fighters, because there's a discipline that goes into fighting. There's kind of a ego. You have to let go of your ego when you try to work your way up the ranks. So you're not, those kind of guys, they're not going to go out necessarily, get real drunk and start a lot of shit and try to, you know, if they do, it's very rare, I think. So, but yeah, that's it. That's what it is. Yeah, and Connery, he was big into, I think he played a lot of like soccer for a while there. I think he even did like, I think read something, he did like Olympic bodybuilding for a little while, but he did like hard jobs, like construction kind of jobs and all that. That's a big one too. Um, a lot of people that are used to hard labor, that brings out a kind of character in a person. Um, I had a construction boss. We were building homes, and he had the calluses on his hands, and his skin was so tan from being in the sun for countless hours, and like thick leather skin. And it's like, that's a kind of character that it's earned through hard work. And those kind of jobs, they're there, but how many of them are going to be an actor? But maybe not a lot. Some, but maybe not a lot, you know. So, um, yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's just, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that also, it's also weird that that Alex Trebek and Sean Connery died in the same year, and they're both in Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, that's really, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, man, it's a bummer, but you know, it's inevitable. It has to, people have to pass, and you know, our icons they have to all go eventually, you know. But
Yes, but they're still around, because nearly no one is watching Steve McQueen nowadays.
yeah,
For example, or Paul Newman. Yeah.
yeah, and there's something about being associated with the Bond character, that it does give you that extra, you know, extra life in the public, you know, generations. But well, yeah.
But I think it's a certain style that returns to cinema. You know, people want to see these normal shaped men and guys who dresses cool and just do their jobs. I don't know if you know the sitcom Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah, I just started watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an icon here. You know, I know a lot of people who just dress like him now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not a big hype, but it is a hype. You know,
Uh-huh.
you see it in the stores. We can buy the suits. You know, all have this special cap and so and some advertising from the movie, also from the film and so. And a few days ago, I watched this film with Matthew McConaughey and Hugh Grant, Gentleman.
Oh yeah, I gotta see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and they all dressed good.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
every time, every scene, he has this British, you know, kind of stuff they wear,
Mhm.
and very gentlemanlike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also this slim, athletic, clever businessman or gangster.
Hmm.
And my son loved the film. So, oh, stylish man, yeah.
Hey, there's something to that. You know, if you can dress up and look good. My brother's a big suit guy now because well, he works in real estate, but
Mhm.
he doesn't know how to kind of let the suit go. Like for Christmas, he's got the suit on. Like for almost anything, he's got the suit on. I'm like, it's okay to wear a t-shirt once in a while, but there is something to be said about a nice suit once in a while. Dress up, look good.
Yeah, and
It's good. It's good once in a while.
it all started with How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson. You have to suit up.
Yeah, I don't think I've maybe watched one episode of that show. Is you like that one? How I Met Your Mother? And that show?
I watched it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, when I when I do the really important things, so vacuum cleaning or so in the
Right.
background. And he's always telling everybody you have to wear a suit, and they all why? Because I say it. You need a suit. It's kind of a running gag. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this up unless is there anything you need to get off your chest or I mean I'm gonna wrap up the podcast. We can still talk, but I'll
Yeah. I,
this.
the most important thing about Connery and James Bond is the first date I had with my wife, I think 17 years ago. We watched this Bond movie, which is the original name, From Russia with Love. It's the English title.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my special connection to James Bond and Sean Connery, because it was a very dark movie theater and that touched her the first time. James Bond style.
There you go. There you go. No, from Russia, that's that's neat because it's all on that locate. Pretty much, there's a lot going on in that train, and it's tight shooting, and you have what's his name in it. That's the big villain, henchman. The guy from Jaws. I can't think of any names today. It's terrible. Um, yeah, he's excellent in it, and you have so many iconic parts of Bond. Like you have the the woman that plays Frau, like Frau from like Austin Powers. you know, they have. I think Spectre's in it. I think don't they make
Yeah.
an appearance with the cat? You know, so yeah, there's just so many good parts about that movie. I'm trying to think what else.
I think people will watch it still watch it in 100 years,
You never
because
know.
it has this this certain mixture of people and cars and boats and the colors, and yeah, it's the perfect mix for me, or for many people. I don't know if someone will watch Dwayne Johnson in 50 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like The Rock a lot, but
Yes,
I don't
I
know
watched
about
Bruce
his
Willis
acting.
yesterday, 12 Monkeys.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
and and it's good. And
Yeah.
I like The Rock. He's really nice. I loved Baywatch. It was really funny to watch.
I didn't see that
But
one. Okay.
if time is limited, time is limited.
Yeah,
Maybe you choose Bruce Willis.
yeah. But 12 Monkeys, like I'm a big Bruce Willis fan, and that's when he was still kind of going for it a bit, and and trying. These days, I don't
Yeah.
know. He doesn't seem to have the same spark. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's the roles he's choosing or the directors he's working with, but it's just kind of I don't know what's going on with them, you know?
The problem is with 12 Monkeys, you have to think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you watch a lot of films nowadays, you don't have to think. You just watch explosions and you can count them. So it's not very difficult.
You know what's really bad with those is the Fast and Furious movies,
Yeah.
where it's just like they're all. I don't know what's different about each one because it's all car chases, and it's like it's very little development of characters, and I just don't. I tried watching them. I saw one in the theater because I just wanted to go see a movie, and I'm like, they had Kurt Russell in it, and it still wasn't even that good. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, this is just a big visual spectacle, like a cartoon, And I'm like, that's what
Yeah.
we got.
I mean, driving around in your car and having problems, every one of us is doing that nearly every day. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, you're right. I was just thinking the other day how what things stand out about a movie and what key scenes do, and it's like some movies just kind of wash over you, and you're like, yeah, I don't feel the need to rewatch that. I don't, and that's a bummer. Movies shouldn't be like that. Even if it's a bad movie, it should be memorable in some way. Like, oh, I
yeah,
want to rewatch how horrible that was, that scene, how well terribly acted that was. But is there something else about it that I liked, or I mean, you look at Bruce Campbell, his overacting. It's so funny to watch him in like Army of Darkness or Evil Dead 2 or almost anything he's in. I look forward.
appearance of Sean Connery in Highlander.
Yeah, yeah,
So you can be iconic and still make bad movies if you
yeah.
want.
I know,
Yeah,
but that's what's great is that Connery, he didn't. You don't get the feeling, even though he was literally on the toilet when he read the introduction to the Highlander. It's still you feel that he cares enough about what he's saying to where
yeah,
it feels like it's like okay, there's a certain kind of logic and credibility to this, and that's amazing to be able to bring that much to a movie that's it's a pretty wonky movie,
yeah.
and the, I, you know I love Highlander now because I do appreciate it. It's kind of silly in a lot of ways, but it's a good kind of bad silly that I've
Yeah,
learned to appreciate over the years.
does no harm to watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I was surprised. A few weeks ago, I watched the 2019 version, director's cut of Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
So Francis Ford Coppola, he made they digitalized it and renewed the sound and the pictures. And I read an article where he said now the technique is there to make black really black, not
hmm,
like back in the 70s when they filmed it first.
hmm,
And I watched it, and it's 3 hours and 15 or 16 minutes, I guess, and it's I already watched it 10 times in my life, and still it's extremely good. And now the colors are better and the sound is better, and it's really iconic.
yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's been I've watched that probably like probably about at least three times, but I'm due to watch it again because it is such a masterpiece. The
And
music and
it's funny. You have Florence Fishburne on the boat, 17
mm,
years old, and if they would film
yeah,
it nowadays, the boat would tilt. No, it's too heavy.
yeah, yeah.
So the question would not be take the blue pill or the red pill. The question would be you take that boat and I take another boat.
Ouch.
Yeah, but it's funny. But you also have the Martin Sheen, the
Yeah.
skinny. Yeah, he's not that
Hmm.
muscular and
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about. Well, Martin
yeah,
Sheen is definitely somebody that had the confidence that could probably handle himself in a situation. Um, yeah, Martin Sheen. I've always liked him in just about any movie. So that's a movie where it's all about atmosphere
yeah,
and the things that aren't being said, and when the things that do happen visually, they happen. It's like boom, like it rocks you. It takes you,
Yeah,
it shakes you up, and it's very, yeah, it's very in between the lines visually. That's what I love about it. And what happens to Colonel Kurtz, a lot of it's in your own mind of what he's gone through, and that's really great. You don't have that kind of stuff anymore necessarily. At least I hope there's some movies out there that can, like, some independent films that can be along those lines that are like psychological, you
yeah.
know. But yeah, that, so it makes a big difference, the color and the restoration on that, and redoing everything. I think.
You don't need it. It's still great if you look
Yeah.
watch the version, yeah. But you know, with all these Dolby surround things we have nowadays, and
Hmm.
so you know, I like it.
Yeah.
It really makes no difference for the
Hmm.
film if you just hear the helicopter popping out here and going there, or if you hear it in three-dimensional. It's
Hmm.
not so important. But yeah, it's good. And I think people will also watch this in 10 years, 50 years, 100 years.
Yeah.
If time is limited, they will choose Apocalypse Now and not the Fast and the Furious.
I don't know, that scene where the car shoots out of the skyscraper and goes into the next skyscraper. I mean, it's totally plausible. I mean, that's the stuff, like, wow. I mean, it's
Yeah,
intense stuff to talk about 100 years later. Even though it didn't happen, it was totally fit on a computer, you know. I mean, the Bond films did most of that stuff practically. You know, that's, there's something to be said about the stunt work and that goes into doing that. And but now it's like so much of it's CG. It's like, yeah, the reality's starting to go, but a great stunt that'll live on for a long time. It just adds another dimension to a film that, like, yeah, like I believe this a lot more now because that car really flipped.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. And it's like it's difficult nowadays. I realized when this Johnny Depp pirate movie came out a few years ago
Yeah.
with Penelope Cruz. My brother bought a TV screen. You know, it's bigger than my first car, I suppose. And we all sat there and watched the movie in 4K, ultra high D, and you can see every wrinkle on her face.
Hmm.
That's not good. Yeah, it wasn't watching a movie. It was a medical examination.
That's
And
true. How sharp do we
so
need it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and when I remember when I was a little boy and watched all those films, when I stayed at my grandmother, she had this black and white screen, and they had a building site next to her house, and they had this big crane,
Hmm.
and the picture was not black and white, it was black and yeah, purple, yellow some days, and yeah, it's because of this damn crane. and and the picture was not sharp, but you didn't need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like in a theater.
Hmm.
And that's also the thing with, if you watch Dr. No, that the car chase, when the bad guys, the cars falls down, yes, and you have an explosion, and the car is here and the explosion is somewhere else, and it doesn't fit
Yeah.
really. Uh, and you know, but that's not a problem,
Mhm.
because it's like a show on a stage. You
Yeah.
know, the car falls down and the bad guys are dead, and it's dramatically, and you have an explosion. Okay, doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah, it's more the illusion that's it's important than these 4K pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was worried when that came out, like, why do we need the 4K, like HD and 1080? And I'm like, that's super. That's already pretty good. That you don't need to go further than that, really. But
you know,
it,
when I rent a movie on Amazon, I always pick the choice SD. You know, don't need HD. It's
yeah,
better. Yeah,
it's the reason. Like, I still hold on to VHS. You
yeah,
know, for one, the sound that's on those tapes, like sometimes it's better, it's louder, it's more full if you have it on the stereo than even a DVD, depending on what kind of system you have. And um, there's just I don't mind that so much. DVD's nice, I like it, but again, the Blu-ray, I never got into the Blu-ray thing because first of all, the menus on a Blu-ray you have to go through. They don't make you can't fast forward through a lot of the commercials, which you bought this thing, and you still got to watch these commercials, and then the menus are so overblown and overdone. Like it takes you 20 minutes just to start the movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they were thinking with that, and so I mean, but that's pretty much it as far as the DVD. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna have another kind of physical media. I think that's kind of that's it because it's still streaming and digital now. But and again, I'm not that if you you have you got the 5G super duper Wi-Fi system. It's like, why do we need this? Why? You don't really need to be that much faster, you know. So
Not for normal movies.
no, no, no. But are there any other Connery movies besides Bonds that you like, that you're fond of, that like that stand out?
I also like the Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Hunt for Red October. Yeah.
It's also good, and one of I think it was before the Bond movies. I don't know the name, but yeah, he is a commander in the desert where he's in jail, and they have to climb up this sand hill every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking about a different movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what that one is. I think I know what you're talking. That's like an early one he did. I don't think I saw that one. But yeah. Yeah, so that's neat. I should get caught up on a lot of his other older movies. I still haven't seen Zardoz all the way. I've just seen parts of that on TV. Well, that I could definitely do like a review of The Man Who Would Be King. That's a fun one. You know, I'm a big Michael Caine fan too, so they're both outstanding in that. Of course, The Untouchables. You know, I was growing up and I saw that, and I mean, everyone's good in that pretty much. But he, again, he's playing that mentor-like character.
Yeah.
I saw a really neat interview with Connery on YouTube where somebody's sitting down and interviewing him, and you'd think Connery would be kind of like maybe standoffish, like, you know, kind of too cool for school a little bit, but he goes and he visits him, and he's in his apartment, and he's still getting dressed. He's like, oh, okay, I didn't expect you. And he sits down, and it's a really cool, laid back. You'd be really surprised how down to earth he was, and especially in this interview. And because we have all these ideas of the character, like he's this certain way, but like no, he's very. He doesn't try to hide anything. He's very upfront about everything that was going on, and how he wanted a little bit more during the Bond movies and his disagreements and everything. He puts it all on the table. So, I mean, that's pretty neat. You don't, a lot of celebrities these days would be kind of guarded about certain topics, or you can't talk about certain things, or, but really neat. I'll try to send you the link to it because it's kind of it's cool to see that side of a well-known actor like that. But another one, I'll always love him in Indiana Jones, of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to see that in '89 in the theater, and just being blown away by it. Well, first of all, the whole movie is just a well done action adventure movie, but him and Harrison Ford acting off each other, it's like, man, I wish we had another movie of this, but it's like we get just so much, and it's perfect. It's like there's very little dead time in that movie where I'm like, I'm bored, or it's like because it works so well and it's so well cast.
The Name of the Rose was also good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I watched that one for the first time probably about 5 years ago, and
And he was a real actor because he if you take Bruce Willis for example, he always plays Bruce Willis. There's no difference. Yeah, if you watch Die Hard or Red or
mhm,
12 Monkeys, it's nearly always the same. You know, the shaved guy having
mhm.
problems and getting beat up from the beginning on. And so,
Yeah,
um,
he's got a
he's
few movies, so
he's
he does a
doing a
little
good
bit of
job,
character
but
acting. But
it's
yeah,
it's always the same. It's always the
hmm,
same. Yeah.
yeah. Well, especially now, I think what it is with him, maybe he doesn't feel challenged, or he thinks like all these movies, it's all the same, always the same. They want me to smirk and be cool, and so I don't know. I don't know what the
Yeah,
answer is.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember one bad film with him, so or movie. So you're never disappointed if you click on Bruce Willis, you get Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you click on Sean Connery, you get different
Hmm.
types of man. Yeah. So he's a real actor, and I think that also helped him to build this myth
Hmm.
because he's different from he's a really good actor.
Yeah. Well, to go from different genres like the
Yeah,
western, the war movie, sci-fi,
yeah.
action adventure. I mean, he's covered just about all. I'm trying to think if he did any comedies. He might maybe done a couple comedies, but pretty much. Even if he did a straight up comedy, I'm pretty he could do it. I'm sure he could do it. No, really not that big of a deal. But yeah, man, um, it's pretty. We don't have a lot of actors left that are that kind of caliber anymore. Like, um, yeah. So, but well, there we go. I think we covered. I think we covered that that whole topic.
Yeah.
I think we covered that pretty good. Might be a few things I missed, a few movies I should talk about, but yeah, man, it was good talking to you. It's good keep catching up.
Yeah.
Been a long time, and I kept pushing on like, yeah, I know we got to talk. It's been a while. We should do something, but life happens. We get busy,
Yes, it's
get pushed
kind of
back.
of laziness. I know it exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I guess so. I think what it is now. I think everyone should really call people a lot more. Um,
Yeah.
I've been bad at it too. Like you always used to call people all the time, but now I just don't anymore. I hate that because I'm just it's usually always me that has to reach out to the friends because I don't know something about them. They never. It's rare that they reach out. Maybe I got a couple that do, but yeah, if you want people to stay in your life and you think they're important enough, you should pull the trigger and call them
Yeah,
and
that's right.
make the time. You know, so I don't know what it is. It's the distractions of uh, our age in general, or that keep us from contacting each other
Yeah,
personally.
maybe. What I feel and what a lot of people feel, what they tell me is this complete exhaustion. You know,
Mm,
people are not tired. If you work a lot and then if you drink too much or so, you're maybe you're 1 or 3 days you have your have to sleep a lot.
sure.
You're tired, but people are really exhausted. And I also have days where I think, okay, man, wow, that's really
Yeah.
hard. Hard to stand up, hard to go to the kitchen and have to press two buttons to get a new coffee. Man, ah,
See, with me, I think that the only time I'm really like that is probably getting up. Is the get up and go muscle. That is something. But once I get up and going, though, I'm good because that momentum kind of carries itself. It's just that part, and then the only time I get really exhausted is if I'm maybe had a lot of driving that day, and I'm just like, ugh, just so much of this stuff, and it just kind of wears you out for some reason. But other than that, I'm good, and I'm not saying I'm eating great at all. I'm probably really not, but I'm staying pretty energized enough. So I don't, maybe I'm doing something right, you know. Probably not, but something in me is keeping me
Maybe the
honest.
problem was we had way too many ideas a few years ago.
Mm.
I had too many ideas. I should do this and I should do that and I should do this and talk to this one and this one, and then it's
Yeah,
like my book pile. Now it loves
right.
that, and then you miss to call the people because it's not part of your plan, or you say
Yeah,
now I focus on the business. The next 90 days I only focus on my business, and yeah, I can only talk for my person. Then you didn't really focus on, or I didn't really focus exclusive on the business.
hmm
Watch more YouTube videos, conspiracy theories, and
right.
and and where we have too much idea, and I think the ideas and I think the challenge we have with this corona crisis is just to focus on one thing and
hmm
clean up everything, and let's say, okay, I have, let's say, 15 or 20 people, and stay connected with these people. There are friends you call maybe twice a day, then you have friends you only call once in a week or every 2 weeks,
Yeah,
but to keep that going, that's important. Because when I remember when I was young, I I didn't have a smartphone. There were no smartphones, so you had those 15, 20 numbers you need for your life. You all had them here.
yeah.
So if you wanted to call Peter, okay, da, 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 da. If you wanted to call, I don't know, Angelica, you phoned her up. You had the number in here,
hmm
and you called these people. And now oh, sometimes I have really a problem finding those people because I don't always save them by their right name.
hmm
I have some people who are in my phone as idiot number one and idiot number two. If I need to call them, I know which one of
That's
these
nice.
now. So
Sure, they appreciate that. But
yeah, maybe that's the lesson to learn.
yeah, it's something that's missing. I think, and again, we get distracted and everything gets cheapened through the
Yeah,
tech. You know, we've traded convenience and efficiency for nuance and the social conversation. You know,
yeah,
the intricacies of that, and it's important to have that connection, man. Once in a while, I have a really good long talk with a friend, and I'm like, that was a long talk, but you get so much out of it. It's cathartic. You feel like you've gotten connected on an issue and resolved some things. Yeah, it's important once in a while to do those.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah. But that being said, once let's get off. I don't want to talk to you. Just text me, okay? The rest of this conversation. I'm gonna eat my cookies. Damn it, my Christmas cookies.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good idea.
You know, I gotta stay distracted with this Christmas goodness. But, no, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Did you have a good Christmas? Everything was good. Good holidays.
Actually, I loved Christmas because I don't had this discussion of let's visit my parents or let's visit parents of my wife and
Yeah.
invite all of them to. No, I said, okay, cool thing. We're just getting up in the morning and watching a movie or do whatever, and we had sunshine. I went out with the dog with my wife and my son and had a good time, and no stress. Yeah, what what
hmm
I have to say was really one of the best Christmas Eves I ever had. Was no stress, no cooking for other people, no binge drinking,
Yeah.
because everyone wants to talk with me. How was your year? Why are you bald? Yes, because God hates me. At least, you know, I don't like this kind of conversation. So it was really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
But you're right. You're right. There's a lot of complications of like who, where, what, when. When it comes to the holiday planning, and it does add a lot of stress to that. And
Yes,
just to have it kind of wash over you, it's like just experience this day, this night
yeah.
before we celebrate. And that's it. That's all you really need. But that's great. I'm happy.
So
I'm happy you had a good
it was
one.
very peaceful, and
I think
I
that touches on a bigger thing. Is that
yeah,
even before all this broke out, I felt like the busyness and the work and everything was coming up to this peak of like, okay, we just can't keep. Okay, this is going to happen, and then we got to do all this, we got to plan all this. Oh, you haven't gone to this, you should maybe go to that and go to this event, and it's just too many options.
yeah,
It's like you can't enough. We needed some kind of a break. Not that at the expense of people dying, but we just needed something to be like, we can't keep this engine going full throttle all the time. Not all the time,
yeah.
you know.
It was the same here when they locked down in China, and politicians here said, "Oh, we will never do a lockdown." And
Hmm.
every time an Austrian politician says, "Oh, we will never do that," uh, just have to wait a few days, and they do it.
Hmm.
And everyone I talk to, they say, "Oh, it would it would really be nice. So 1 week, 2 weeks staying at home or working from home office. That would really be nice." And that's what happened.
Hmm.
I think 9 weeks was the first lockdown,
Yeah.
and you know then summertime was, but all these big concert and events didn't take place, so it was all canceled. And out of nothing, you had I have a park here in front of my house, and you had a bunch of young people, and they brought their guitar and a small amp, and they just made a concert for the people who were there, 30 people. And
Yeah.
it was nice. Yeah, they played for I think 4 hours or so. And you don't need these real big things.
Hmm. Yeah.
Too much distraction. Yeah, if your free time feels like work. Oh, we have to go there. Oh, fuck, cinema starts in half an hour. Brrr, Fast and the Furious for private people. Oh, I have to get up morning early because I have to get there and there and there, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people were more stressed out on the weekends than during work time. No?
Yeah, because you always feel like guilty. I always, if you didn't go to a certain thing, like
Yeah,
maybe I should have gone there, and then that would have turned around. It's like, no, not probably not, maybe, but probably not. And there's just way too many things to do. I mean, now granted, that's nice. It's nice to have that option, but I just felt like constantly like pressure to like be somewhere or do something, you know. And I think this has caused us to have the reflections like you don't have to. It's not that big of a deal, you know.
yeah. It was like a rat race, and I recognized that the people told you, "Oh, we are at this fancy restaurant, and we have a reservation tomorrow, and
Hmm.
you and your wife." And I don't. There are a lot of people that I don't really like so much that I want to see them every week, and then all these fancy restaurants where you have to pay a lot, and
Hmm.
go there by car, and then you're not allowed to drink, which makes it even harder for me. And now it's easy.
Hmm. Yeah.
In summertime was genius because people say, "Oh, we have to go there and there," and say, I don't feel so well. I have this strange cough, and yeah, I stay at home, man. Too risky for you, all the chain smokers. I don't want to harm you. Oh, thank you.
Just stay home. Stay home.
Yes, I
Stay
stay at
home.
home. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But, yeah, and I like that we have the time to, like, I just played, like, books. That's good. I'll read some books, but, 'cause I don't have to, like, sit there and, like, I have like a old, like a Commodore 64 emulator that I can just play old
Okay.
games that I never was able to finish. I'm like, and I don't feel so guilty because hey, there you got some time now. There's no better time to finish these games and resolve these issues from my childhood than now and not feel guilty about it. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, enjoying that leisure time and not feeling guilty about enjoying it. You know, it's a big one.
I'm not meeting so much people, or meet the right people, you know.
Hmm.
Now time is limited.
That's an endless quest. Who's the right person? And
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. I don't want. I want to see this guy and not this guy.
yep, yep.
So if people call you, I want to meet with you, and then you take out your list and say, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, you are on page number 4, and we already have Thursday evening. The good slots are all taken already. Yeah, also makes life easier.
Yeah, it's just endless quest of people to meet and things to do,
Yeah,
and just got to be a little too much, a little too much. But everything's a balance, you know. Now you can be at the other side where it's like, okay, I'm in too much. Got to get out. Got to. I got to
yeah,
meet the right person. I can meet somebody, you know. But everything's a balance, you know. So, but again, having that routine, having something that like I'll do, even if it's later on, I try to get a walk, just get a walk just to keep the blood circulating. Because for one, if I don't end up working out that day, at least I did something that was got me moving. And
yeah,
two, it gives you a chance to like not be in front of a TV or distracted very much. You're just focused on that one thing, a brisk walk around the block or wherever in the park, and you kind of structure your whole day. You're waking up a bit more. You're being more. Your senses are like, oh, there's the air. It's cold, but it's waking you up more. Um, and yeah, um, I do a little bit of meditation, a 5 minute meditation, 10 minutes sometimes, and that's beautiful too. So as long as I have those two things in my day, that's something that'll get going. You know,
yeah. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. And I have my whole I'm still doing that accountability list where I have these goals I'm doing. I check them off bit by bit as I go down. That keeps me on track. You know, gives you some kind of order. But I have days where I slack off. I'm like, I didn't do anything on that damn list today. That was it was a little of a waster there. But
Cheat day.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah, but you also need this kind of days.
sure. Yeah, I think you're right.
No one is a machine.
Yeah,
Not now.
it's like Christmas Eve. You have to have a day wash over you and just
Yeah.
don't feel the need to get certain. You have to get these certain things accomplished for that day. You know, it's okay to let go once in a while. You know, yeah.
That's also important. Maybe you should get a dog.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know.
I can
Yeah,
guarantee you will be
yeah.
out at least 3 times a day.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
totally right. When my brother's dog, when he was around, he would whine at the side of the bed and like, oh boy, here we go. But it'd get you up and out and get you moving.
Yeah.
You liked it or not, he's gonna keep whining until you take on fit him on that leash. That is good though. That they are great that way though to keep you, keep you going. I miss Crypto was my brother's dog, and he was such a great laid back cool dog. And yeah, it's they break your heart because it's like when they have to go, ugh, it's like a
Mm,
family member, you know. But
yeah.
it's good to have that mascot, family mascot in your life. It causes you to be a better person and take care of somebody that loves you unconditionally. What kind of dog do you have again? I think you might have told me before.
It's a small dog.
Yeah.
So, mixture of a wiener dog and corgi, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too big because I wanted a small dog. So you can take a small dog to your customers.
Yeah.
But we had the dog a few weeks, and then we had lockdown number 1, so he never saw a customer until now.
How was he though? When he saw the customer, did he get crazy or what?
No. He's really a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we've had small dogs growing up. Always a small, like a terrier,
yeah,
mostly terriers. The Crypto is a beagle terrier. So there's something about that group
same
you get
thought.
used to.
Yeah.
But big dogs are cool too. Like my dad had a big white dog, and then a few other smaller dogs, and then a medium-sized dog. And,
Yes, but people are afraid
yeah.
here always, and if you go by bus here, it's they're all looking at you, and then they start a conversation. I don't need that.
I don't need your conversation.
No.
Uh,
I hate it. I want to go back. I'm in the bus to get somewhere, not to talk to people. Because if I would talk to people, if I would like to talk just to people, I would not go into the bus. I would just remain at that fucking bus station and talk to everyone who is waiting for a bus. And then people come and, oh, you have such a big dog. Why you have such a big dog? Yes, because I hate you. This dog eats people who who have silly questions.
Gosh, yeah. I saw a Saint Bernard going down the street when I was driving there. Oh gosh, you're so huge, humongous. It's like
Mm,
imagine having that in your house. It's like it's another roommate. It's like
yeah.
it's another person. It's like you might as well be like he's probably gonna be cooking your food next time you go home, and
Yeah.
Here I made the food for you, human. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
go get the mail. Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, man. Well,
Okay.
we'll call it podcast. Man, it's great talking to you. We should do it again.
Yeah.
You know. Um, Happy New Year.
Yes, we have 2 hours left now.
Yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, but we are not allowed to go outside, and no fireworks this year, and very silent Happy New Year.
Mhm.
But no, it's okay for me. I'm not this Happy New Year guy.
Yeah, I've never been that way where it's like,
Mm.
oh, we got to go out and do something, man. It's all going to change. New Year's, don't you see it? Like, no, it's another
This is
day.
my year. This
I know.
And they all said that bullshit 1 year ago, and then we had this year. So
I know. Exactly. Yeah. Like this is
Yeah.
gonna be the best 2020, man.
I,
Yeah.
I will I will rock 2020. Yes, but there is no stage for you.
Well, it's the same this year, like 2021. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so much better. Let's get rid of this year, man. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
I go, what? You just have to do the best of what you're given. You have to make each day kick ass, even if things are falling apart. It's not like magically things are going to be going away. It's just no, it's never like that. But it's just funny. But well, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you.
Have a beer. Have something.
Yes, I have it here. My
What kind is that?
it's an Austrian beer
Ah.
from a funny guy. he He started to become a politician now here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's so crazy. He just says, okay, we don't need that people have more income from the states. They just need more beer, and so it's quite funny. Yeah, they said they have to mix the vaccine with the beer and open up the pubs so the people will do it by
Hmm.
themselves. So,
Yeah, there you go. That's how you do it. Let's get everybody to do that.
so
Yeah,
I support him by drinking his beer. And
that's. Was he a friend of yours, or he's just somebody that?
no, it's just somebody,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
random
Well,
guy.
all right, man. Well, hey,
Hey.
I got all these cookies to finish.
Yes, and I believe in you.
All before the new year. It's all
Yeah,
gonna change. I'll turn around.
things will change if no cookies are left anymore. Then you can rock 2021.
I can rock and it's gonna
Yeah,
be the best. It's gonna be beautiful, man. It's all, you know.
yeah. Yeah, it's like Brian Rose. He's trying to get mayor of London.
Oh, I
So
know. I know. I can't believe. I just can't believe him sometimes.
yeah,
Like I'll still watch his videos, and it's like, okay, that's good. He makes some great points, but he just doesn't understand. Like all these people are pissed at him, like because he's not being, what's the word? Up front. He's not being transparent
yeah,
about the things that he does. It's unbelievable, and he wants to be mayor, but all these people are pissed off and disgruntled about his practices that he's doing. Like,
yeah. But it's not the first time, man. Crazy times.
yeah,
Maybe they have to rename it from London to London for real.
yeah, for real. Well, he's got his critics now. They're coming up. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are saying, like, look, there's a lot of complaints about how he's doing things. This is, yeah,
Yes,
but that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother conversation.
yeah. But it's also
Really.
fun. There's this YouTube channel with this guy with his entrepreneur bingo. Do you know it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched that on.
Great, and he has a Brian Rose and
It's got the real evil thumbnail of their face, like all twisted. Yeah.
and I ordered his coffee mugs. You can buy them.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, dedicated, motivated.
He's funny. Some of his videos are
Yeah,
really good. Um, Another one is CoffeeZilla.
yeah,
He's pretty good. He's pretty good at calling people out. And
yeah.
but yeah, the one that I still talk to Gene. We still meet up, once in a while, every couple weeks, and so. But what was it, Mike DeGracios or whatever, and Tony Robbins?
Yeah, that's also great.
Yeah, and he's just like that guy's tearing into him, and it's like what kind of product are they getting, and they're just overcharging, and
Yeah.
again, you know,
I, I like the video when he blew up Tony and says, "Ma, Tony is so giant."
yeah, yeah, he
A
is, he is
Prince with
though.
a seven.
He's a beast. He's a big dude. Yeah, man. But well, have a happy New Year, Paul.
Yes,
And,
you also.
we'll talk again. We'll talk again. And it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be a podcast. We'll just we can just talk, whatever.
we can make it a London Real special or London for Real or
I'll
whatever.
get my suit. I get my suit out, and I'll
Yeah, three-piece suit, please. Yes.
yeah, yep, and I'll put the flag up in the background.
Yeah, and maybe a gun. It's always with Dan Pena, you need a gun.
Yeah, he always brings the gun out. That's great.
For all the snowflakes and cocksuckers.
Oh, he's a trip. He's a trip. His boy, he's pretty damn funny sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we'll talk. We'll talk again. We'll
Okay.
talk when everything's turned around next year.
Yeah.
Okay, everything will be perfect.
Yes, after the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'll be all good. Everything
Okay.
will go back to normal.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's cool. I'm glad I had you on. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Ciao.